The world paused in awe as a quiet calm settled over St. Peter's Square. It was a day that would go down in history, a day of transformation. Luis Antonio, once the simple Archbishop of Manila, stepped into a new role as Pope Francis II. The hopes of millions rested on him, yet he greeted the moment with a warm, glowing smile. To those who believed, he was a shining light of hope. A fresh chapter for the Catholic Church had begun. Inside the Grand Basilica, sunlight poured through colorful stained glass windows, and the sweet smell of incense floated in the air. The old, sacred ceremonies unfolded with a quiet, beautiful dignity. Cardinals dressed in bright red robes moved through the church in a solemn line. The air felt heavy with the echoes of centuries past. On his finger sparkled the papal fisherman's ring, a sign of his new power. Around his shoulders was placed the pallium, a simple woolen scarf, reminding him to care for his people, like a shepherd. Every part of the ceremony was wrapped in tradition, connecting him to the very soul of the Church. He was now the vicar of Christ, following in the footsteps of St. Peter. With a humble and gentle spirit, he accepted his calling. Cheers burst out across the world, from the Philippines to Poland, from Brazil to the United States. 1 billion people felt united as one. This was a moment that mattered deeply, a memory to hold dear. Elderly nuns wiped away tears while young children waved little Vatican flags with pure excitement. From every part of the earth, people who loved the Church came together to celebrate this new beginning. Messages of joy and support flooded in. This wasn't just a crowning. It was proof of how faith could bring people together. Then silence returned to the square. Pope Francis II spoke, his voice trembling with feeling. He talked about kindness, togetherness, and the desperate need for peace. He urged the strong to rethink their ways and offered comfort to those who were struggling. He dreamed of a church that welcomed everyone, especially those left out or forgotten. He asked for a return to the simple, powerful lessons of Jesus, a focus on what faith truly means. His words touched the hearts of millions. Pope Francis II felt like a leader made for today, a pope who truly understood what people were going through in the modern world. He was all about welcoming change, bringing a new energy to his role. His election was a turning point for the Catholic Church, especially as the first Asian pope. He carried a bold new vision into the Vatican. His time as pope was defined by a promise to include everyone and to find a balance between old traditions and today's needs. Being the first Asian pope wasn't just a title. It showed the Church reaching out to the whole world. With his unique background, he could relate to people from all kinds of cultures and walks of life. This wide-open view helped him tackle the big, messy challenges the Church faced in the 21st century. His leadership proved the Church wanted to be for everyone, everywhere. Choosing him showed it was ready to evolve and face the real world of today. He didn't shy away from tough topics that had been swept under the rug for too long. Instead, he invited people to talk openly and created space for honest, hard conversations. For many who had felt pushed away by the Church before, his way of doing things was like a gust of fresh air. His humbleness and his care for the poor and forgotten struck a chord not just with Catholics, but with people of all beliefs. He often visited struggling neighborhoods, bringing kindness and help to those who needed it most. He didn't just talk about fairness and justice, he lived it. This won him love from those inside the Church and respect from those outside it. He wasn't afraid to say the Church had made mistakes in the past and needed to do better. It wasn't easy to face those old wrongs, but his courage and clear vision lit a spark, inspiring others to join him in reshaping the Church for a brighter, more open future. Pope Francis II believed that tackling tough problems head-on would make the Church stronger and more connected. He was a pope who really listened and understood people. He made a special effort to reach out to young people, knowing they would shape the Church's future. He cared about what they thought and urged them to take part in carrying out the Church's mission. His ability to connect with people one-on-one made him a favorite, not just among Catholics but beyond the Church as well. His time as Pope was all about dialogue and change, lighting the way in a world that often felt uncertain. He worked hard to build bridges, spark understanding, and spread peace. His leadership gave people hope, showing them a church that wasn't just up to date, but also kind and open to all. In a time full of change and doubt, Pope Francis II shone as a sign of hope and a fresh start. The world tuned in, hanging on his every word. He talked about fixing the divisions tearing humanity apart, calling for an end to fighting and a start to forgiving and making things right. He stood up against poverty, injustice, and the exploitation of the weak. He reminded everyone that every single life matters, that everyone deserves respect and dignity. His point was simple: love wins every time. His words were like a soothing embrace for a hurting world. He painted a picture of a better tomorrow, one filled with peace and fairness where everyone felt like part of one big family. Catholics everywhere came together, full of faith and hope. The bells of St. Peter's rang out, sending their joyful chimes across the globe. They weren't just calling people to pray, they were inviting everyone to celebrate something bigger than time or distance. They were a reminder that no matter where they were, Catholics belonged to one giant worldwide family. From Manila to Mexico City, from Rome to Rio de Janeiro, Catholics everywhere rejoiced. In Manila, the streets buzzed with happy parades, bright banners flapping in the breeze. In Mexico City, people packed the massive cathedral, their voices blending into one beautiful song. In Rome, the heart of the Catholic world, the celebrations mixed old-school traditions with a fresh, modern energy, making the moment both grand and meaningful. In Rio de Janeiro, the lively beat of samba danced alongside hymns, creating a fun and spirited celebration. The crowning of Pope Francis II was a loud and clear reminder that the Church belongs to everyone, everywhere. As the world watched the new Pope take his place, the ancient rituals showcased the Catholic Church's long and enduring story. The Pope's down-to-earth style and warm words touched millions, driving home his message of love, kindness, and togetherness. It was a moment that pulled people from all walks of life across borders, languages, and cultures into one big, hopeful embrace of faith. As candles flickered in silent vigils across the world, people held them close, their faces glowing with quiet hope. It was a sign of their unwavering faith in a brighter tomorrow. The Church, through all its struggles and triumphs, stood strong. Pope Francis II's coronation was not just a tradition, it was a symbol of renewal, a promise of a future shaped by faith, love, and unity.